In this video, we're going to be showing you how you can use the Flexus Q5 digital temperature sensors with the Q5 PLC. These are one-wire protocol type sensors, and if we open it up, we'll see that each sensor has a unique digital identification code. And this sensor code is used to identify multiple sensors on the same bus. So I could connect up to 64 of these sensors all to the same bus. And so that's super useful if you want to measure a whole bunch of temperatures. And so let's go ahead. I've already actually pre-wired one of these. So let's go ahead and connect that up to our one-wire sensor port. So we can see here there's ground, which is going to be our black wire. There's 3.3 volts, which is our red, and one wire, which is our yellow. And again, that's also on the label here as well. So let's go ahead and connect that in there. The white shield, you could earth that. We're just going to leave it alone for our case. And let's go ahead, power our device up. It's networking. And let's log into our unit. Onto the temperature sensors tab, we'll see there's been an unconfigured sensor found on this device. So this sensor has been identified but has not been added. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. I'm going to call this room temperature. Oops, I accidentally threw the ID. So let's go ahead and do that again. Room temperature, and let's just look at instantaneous for today's example. And so if I go ahead and test that, go over to the overview page, we'll now see our room temperature. And if we wanted to add another sensor here, we could take an additional sensor. Let's just go ahead and put that one in here with that sensor. You'd want to use a proper bus if you're putting lots of these on here, but for everything we're doing today, this is fine just to put a few leads in here. There we go. So now if we go back to our temperature sensors here. Yep. So we have another one, 348110. So if we add that, let's call this outdoor. So let's say we had this temperature sensor outside. We can go ahead and apply that. And in just a moment, we'll also have that. There we go. 29 and 28. So we can see we're taking readings now from both of these sensors. You'll see this ID here, 34810 on the label. That's the same ID that we used to add the sensor. So you could just look at the number and put it in with the label. In our case, it's easy just to adopt it. And so you could graph these temperatures out. You could record them to an SD card. You could pull this via Modbus TCP, RS-45, CAN bus, serial. You have a whole lot of options. You can make a web server to share this data. So for example, we could do handle, and let's just make a function here, request, return, and actually let's make this, we do need to return a string. There we go, we just create our loop, so it just continues running, and then our web server here is going to handle any incoming requests, and it's going to print out the first temperature sensor there. Now if we go to that, we can see last updated 5 seconds ago, average and instantaneous, and we could return all the temperature sensors there as well, but yeah, that's what we did in our case, just return the first one. And we could make a list. We could do anything we wanted here. We could do indoor. Let's send that as 0. Let's make object. Let's do outdoor. Outdoor, indoor. So you could also send that data to your server. You could upload that data. You could pull it with MQTT. You have a whole lot of options once you have it in here. And with our cloud services, you can also use Grafana with that data. So here we're looking at a dashboard of temperature sensors that have been buried in the ground at various depths. You can see up to, ranging from 18 inches up to 54 inches. And you can see kind of a neat phenomenon here if we look at, for instance, the 54-inch one, which is this purple line here. We can see that during September, somewhere around September, October, the ground temperature actually switches, and the lower temperature is now the warmest temperature because everything on top is cooling down. So we can see that our 54 inches is at 8 Celsius and our 18 inches is at 1.59 Celsius. So you can see it switches over, and then sometime around March, around the middle of March, that it begins warming, and so you can see that our 18 inches are our warmest temperature. The shallower is warmer. So it's kind of interesting. You can, collect that kind of data, and that's especially useful if you have, anytime you need to monitor soil conditions, you need to monitor environmental conditions. You can do that with as many sensors as you need, and just really a cool thing they've done with these digital temperature sensors. So that concludes our video. If you have any questions, reach out to us on our website, flexgata.com, and we would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more.